Good morning. My name is Craig Strine from the Silver Spur Saddle Shop, and today I have with me Dr. Phil Edler. Dr. Edler is a member of the Equine Practitioners Hall of Fame. He's been my personal vet for many, many years. I have the deepest respect for his veterinarian ability and his horsemanship. Today, Dr. Edler is going to talk about what he expects his clients to do to prepare their horse for his visit to make it a safe and effective visit.
As we start, I'm going to talk about my rules of horsemanship when I'm with a patient and their owner. And my number one rule of horsemanship is save yourself. Now that sounds really silly, but if either of us get hurt when I'm there, that first of all makes me feel terrible, and second of all, it hurts. So when I talk about saving yourself, I'm really talking about several things that we need to do that are more rules in my mind of how to be with your horse when I'm there. The first thing I always ask is for my handler to always be on the same side of the horse that I'm on. If I'm working over here, I want my handler over here. If I step across the other side, hopefully the handler knows to move to the other side. The next thing that I think is very important is to understand how that horse perceives us. And the perception that a horse has goes back to what we talk about as the prey-predator relationship. Horses are naturally what we consider a prey animal. We're predators. We stalk our food to eat it, and they are, or were in ancient times, still are in some countries, food, and so consequently their main defense mechanism is flight. And there again, that's the one thing that we have to understand in order to keep from getting hurt, is that they are going to move wherever they feel that they're going to be safest. How do you tell that? That gets to another rule. You observe the ear, and it tells you where they're looking. This horse can only see me out of this eye. The other eye is looking at something totally different. That ear will follow me as long as now she's looking for me. When I move across to the other side, you can see the ear telling me exactly where she's looking, and now she come across and she's trying to line me up with both eyes. If you're directly in front or she gets her head in just the right position, she can see me out of her eye. Because of that sight and whatnot, we can talk about this area right down behind the front leg as being the drive line. The line of this horse, or all horses, goes from the withers right down past the front leg. And this drive line is everything that pushes on the back of the horse will make the horse go forward or move away from you, and everything on this side of the drive line will cause the horse to move in the opposite direction. The safest place to be if you're working on a horse by yourself is to be at the drive line. If I'm examining a horse, I might want to examine the eye, so it's got to be able to allow me to look at an eye. Same thing with the nose. If I want to examine the teeth, it's got to allow me to look at the teeth and check the teeth. If I'm going to check the heart, I'll use the stethoscope. And the heart area is right in here. And I can put my stethoscope on. Dean is very relaxed today. Her heart rate is right in that 30 range, and a normal heart rate runs 30 to 35. I might listen to the lungs as well. There again, got to be able to stand and allow me to take my stethoscope and listen all through the lungs and listen for problems that might go on, as well as if we're dealing with a colic, I might want to come and listen to the intestines back here. If I decide that I have a horse that's sick or maybe a colic, I may want to actually check his temperature or do a rectal to see what's going on in there. When I'm checking the temperature of a horse, and a normal temperature on a horse should be about 98 to 100, and anything when you get over 101 or 2, I call that a fever. And so there again, I start out rubbing the horse in this area, provided he's comfortable with it. Sometimes if he's not comfortable, I may have to start clear up here. But once I get him used to this, and then I'll slide under there and I'll just tickle his tail or tickle his rectum a little bit, her rectum. And she'll give me her tail like that, and I'll go back and I'll do it again. And pretty soon I can get her so relaxed that I can just slide my thermometer in there and I can get a temperature checked. And so before the veterinarian comes, and when you're practicing and playing with your horse, and the reason that we love horses is, you know, that we just like being around them. We like how they smell. We like everything about them. So just play with them like that, and get them so when the veterinarian, if he does have to do a rectal or check their temperature, it's not a big deal for the animal. Okay, the other thing that I always think that you should work with, and that will help the veterinarian as well as the farrier, and that's to make sure that he's comfortable in picking up his feet and allowing those to be worked on. Now, I'll step around here so that you can see, but these horses have a chestnut right in here. And if almost any horse, if you squeeze that chestnut, will lift that leg. You don't want to get overzealous with it, but like Dina here, all I got to do is just reach for that and she gives me her leg, and then I can go ahead and examine the leg. I can put a hoof testers on it, or I could do whatever. But what you can do at home is pick the feet up, pound the feet a little bit, turn them around, work with that kind of movement and get them real used to having their feet handled. The same thing goes with the back leg. There again, I always keep a hand on the horse. I reach down, I'll pick up, and she just gives it to me. But if she didn't want to give it to me, if I just squeeze a little bit on the point of her hock, they'll always pick that up. Then I can come down and get in and under the horse and go ahead and work on it. When the veterinarian comes in the spring, he's going to come and he's going to want to worm the horse, and he's going to want to give him his spring shots. The area for the spring shots is this area right on the neck, and it's a triangle. That triangle runs, there's a ligament here called the ligament of the nuchae, and then here is the actual neck bones, the cervical vertebrae. And they start right up here behind the ear, ho sweetie. They start right behind the ear, and they dip and they run right in here. This area then leaves you the shoulder, below the ligament and above the bones, leaves you this area for muscle for shots. The other area that we use occasionally for shots is this big butt muscle back here. And of course, we usually need to worm the horses. Years ago, we had to tube worm them, so we had to run a tube up their nose. But now all we got to do is just have them so we can stick a paste in their mouth and give them a paste wormer. And so, there again, you can prepare this horse's mouth and head for wormer, and you can do that just by playing with his mouth with your fingers. Don't get bit.